Just waiting for some people to enter in the actual room. Hopefully, people are getting the notifications and we can get this particular live stream going. Hopefully, everyone's night is going well and swell. Not too many issues, as I always say. Let me see. Checking a couple messages. Seems like the more closer we come to 2020, the slower it is for notifications to actually go out. I guess that's what we're to expect in the 2020, the new decade, the new coming decade. Let me see. I don't think this particular this live stream won't cut out because I'm using a different device and I'm probably not, since I'm not moving around in traffic, it's not pinging off of different towers or whatnot. What's going on, Joe Frank? Seeing you chiming in. Who else is out there? Appreciate you for coming in, Joe Frank. I've been noticing it. I mean, it's been traffic today, but not like usual. I guess because a lot of people done probably either left the state or they're off their job, so it's not too much traffic moving around as usual. But if we get enough people in here, I will actually post a hotline. I mean, I said it on the earlier live I did today, but it was shutting down way too many times for me to even try to attempt that. So, pardon me for not posting it earlier when I was trying to conduct a driving live. Just listening, yeah. I'm solo. Don't got nobody on here with me, so like I said, if I get reach that 15-minute marker and nothing's jumping, I'll probably bow out and I won't even say try again tomorrow because tomorrow is what is it? Christmas Eve. I don't think I'm gonna do nothing Christmas Eve or Christmas. I'm just gonna kick back. Hopefully, people can check in with some relatives that they probably haven't seen in a while. Do some catching up before we start this new coming year, new coming decade. It's a twofer. Yeah, true me, true me. I appreciate that. Just gotta it's crazy. Like I said, it takes 1,000 to at least be able to do a live stream, but they're not letting nobody come in. Matter of fact, I need to screenshot when I actually sign in to do YouTube. It's like a what's it, asterisk behind my Tuku the Khan name. So that lets me know that they got it essentially marked where you know it's a limitation put on there. They try to say, "Oh no, that doesn't mean nothing." I done seen other people sign in on their YouTubes and they don't have that. So that lets me know that's why my channel is limited. And like I said, I wouldn't have it any other way. I refuse to, follow some type of scriptive narrative or anything like that. So if that be the case, that be the case. I'm gonna continue to speak the way I speak until I can no longer speak and convey what I need to convey. So there you have that. So like I said, we have Joe Frank, but I guess the other person is just laying dormant. Like I can't say anything. I don't want to say anything. Keep pushing that push. Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this. Every live stream is different, you know. The one I did today was probably different than the day before, and that one is totally different from this one. So I kind of like to try to hang out just a little bit because it's like once it starts getting around maybe the 10-minute range, then they start sending more notifications in. Just like, you know, I've done heard probably say if I ended it within 30 minutes or 15 minutes, probably an hour from now, they will send out the notifications saying that I'm live. But when people would go to it, it would no longer be live. So, like I said, it's not by mistake. This is all done by design. Matter of fact, think about the programmers that set up these particular platforms. If they're already leading with a racist and prejudice ideology, of course they have these algorithms operating like this. Oh, you said, man, I see you pushing around the town in the whip of the day. Man, just caught up a little bit of it. Caught a little bit of it. Didn't know if it was snowing out there. Nah, it wasn't snowing. It was situated, but I mean, you could see the snow in the actual, in the actual video. Matter of fact, it was like I think I said earlier, it was like 29 degrees at that time in the morning that I was driving around. But where I was situated, from them, plowing the parking lots, it looked like a bunch of big snow mounds, like it actually snowed. But one of these days, when it's like snowing and it's actually coming down, I might have to actually do a video like that because then you'll see, all the streets snow white and being real messy outside. Today, it really wasn't that bad from a standpoint of being winter here in Minnesota. Like I said, next month, that's when it can get hectic. That's like the coldest month within the year is January. January can get some Arctic temperatures. I mean, December can be no punk, but January, that definitely is one of the coldest. And then once you start heading towards February and March, it starts to turn around. So, not saying we can't get snow, but the Arctic temperatures are kind of no longer. And like I said in that earlier live that I did where I was driving around, all the spots I noticed. I mean, I posted the picture of the the surveillance stuff in the where I post my affirmations, but every area I was driving to where it was an intersection with those 5G transmitters and the night vision cameras on the traffic posts, the live was shut down every time at those spots. So that lets you know they have some type of signal when they know you're recording something. They don't want you to, draw attention to it. But I had my other device and I actually took a picture of it and I actually posted it up within the information. So if you want to see that, you can see that. Like I said, look for those same things when you're, at your local intersection in the area, in the hood, wherever, and you'll see they'll have night vision cameras. They'll have 360-degree cameras where they can see all whatever direction they need to see, tracking people's license plates that come into whatever that section of the city, I think people need to know about that. Matter of fact, I was thinking about doing a movie review on Purple Rain. I know a lot of people see Purple Rain like, oh, it's kind of straightforward, but now that, more information comes out that maybe people weren't privy to, firstly, I got to rewatch it so I could pay attention to the particular cues in it. But to me, I got a feeling once I rewatch Purple Rain and do the movie review, people will see it in a different light than what it was originally presented to the public. Yeah, you said the season, and you said, right, gotcha. Yeah, most definitely, you got to pay attention to that. I mean, I remember here in Minnesota at one time, they had traffic cameras, and it was a big debacle about that because people were getting tickets where maybe you let someone borrow your car, or the camera couldn't really make out who was driving the car, so they were just sending tickets out because the plates. So they ruled that as unconstitutional here in the state, and they got rid of them. But essentially, then they just essentially went stealthy and replaced the cameras with just cameras on the traffic poles instead of kind of on a set in the median of the roadway. They just put them on the uh, the traffic lights. And a lot of people, they didn't pay attention to it, but I had a partner that kind of pulled my coat to it. Said, yeah, Rick, they got these. First of all, he told me at every bridge is one entering the bridge and exiting the bridge. So you think about it like this: if say you could go on a bridge, the night vision camera is getting your plates coming on and as well as exiting off, and vice versa. If someone's coming the opposite way of traffic, they're getting their plates reading in and reading out. So they know where everybody's traveling and coming from at what particular time, who was driving, if it can, actually make that out all throughout the city. So essentially, you see that, that means you live in a smart city. You see bike lanes, that means you live in a smart city. You see those 5G transmitters on light posts, because well, I can't really speak for all different parts of the country, but I know predominantly the lamp posts that light up the street, in the inner city, a lot of them are on this big wooden poles, but now they're replacing them with metal lamp posts that you see out on the freeway. And if you look up towards the top, they're transmitters. So they go so far. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like it used to be like light posts would be a certain amount of distance, but now they're more closer range, so they can get, they could transmit the signal that much more better, that much more clear of whatever and whoever they're trying to track. Oh, you said, man, you was watching one of his early concerts. Damn, timestamp. Yeah. Now, Joe Frank, you said timestamp. Where are you talking about? I want to make sure I know what you're talking about. But then again, I've just been kind of ongoing talking, and so I don't know which part you might be referring to. But yeah, my thing. I mean, I'll touch into a little bit of what I see about Purple Rain. To me, I think Purple Rain was about Prince's alter ego, and a lot of people, may think like, what do you mean his alter ego? Well, I think Morris Day, the part he played in there, was essentially Prince's alter ego, because you figure he had. Oh, you said, well, in the state of Washington, they have a whole city under Wi-Fi. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's how they kind of got it, here. They try to blanket, oh, we got shot spotters to let you know if, a gun's been shot off here. But essentially, it has other underlying uh, uh, things that it can do besides that. But yeah, as far as the Purple Rain, Morris Day to me was his alter ego, and with him being his alter ego, you had opposing bands, and trying to see whose band is better or whatever. But essentially, when you think about it, once you know that last album, that postmortem album that came out with Prince, that came out of the vault, is called Prince Originals. What's going on, Choice? I'm speaking on Purple Rain and breaking it down, but it's called Prince Originals. A lot of the songs on there that he performed are songs that we come to know as, like Jungle Love, and I want to say some of the uh, I think Vanity Six songs. I want to even say Sheila E songs. You know, he did those word like if you hear the music and then you hear the lyrics is word for what they said. But a lot of people say, well, he wrote them for these other people. Well, think about it like this: if he retains all the rights to that, they essentially just sang the song. He paid them to sing the song. So being paid to sing a song, a flat rate versus collecting the royalties for publishing and for performing the different instruments or whatever in the music and arrangement, that's different type of money. You know, he's on that's ongoing making Prince wealthy versus one person paid a flat rate. You know, but altering bands, okay, is that aspect. Okay, the other aspect. Now, if you remember in Purple Rain, Vanity wanted, or not Vanity, Apollonia wanted to be famous, so she teams up with Morris, and Morris said, "Yeah, I'll make you a star." With that being said, they form, the Apollonian, band. Now, now think about it like this: if Prince performed everything, all the instruments, and wrote everything within the time, they were just essentially performing or acting like they were performing, you know, the music that Prince actually did. So essentially, that's the part that Morris and Jerome were in the movie, like they were forming uh, Apollonia and the girl group. Essentially, that's what Prince did in reality with the time. You know, that's why when you see the last Time album that came out, it was called the Original Seven. They couldn't use the Time because Prince owned the rights to that name. He owned the rights. He owned all the writing credit for all the songs. He owned all the publishing for the music because he performed all that. So that just means they were essentially like a puppet. You know, he had the players like, you're gonna play this part, you're gonna play this part, you're gonna play this part. I already got the music done. I already got the lyrics done. You just gotta perform it like, this is you. And as far as, like I said, go to the Prince originals, look that up. Type in Jungle Love. When you hear it, essentially all it was a template album or a template song. And Morris kind of, probably put his touches on that to make it seem like, yeah, yeah, this is me. But he was a puppet. That's why I say I got to watch Purple Rain to see other things in there that, can reveal things that, when you watch it the first few times that you didn't see it knowing this new information. Yeah, you said he also wrote and produced under another name also for those groups. Most definitely. Most definitely he did. Yeah, someone was telling me some alias that he used. And so that was his way to, garner so much wealth like he did. To me, someone put him on to, you got to go this route to, if you really want to attain wealth. And think about it. How much of, those people could have really been his partners if he was, doing them like that. Right. Just characters. Just like, almost like, think about like, what was the group back in the day, the Monkeys or whatever. They weren't actually performing any of that. It was another group that, actually did that. Or we take it like this, Millie Vanilli. But as far as Morris, he did sing it. But the thing is, it was already pre-written. It's like, here, just sing this, and learn your dance steps or whatever. Y'all are essentially performers. I'll pay you a flat rate for doing that. But far as the serious money for publishing, I'm retaining all that. So essentially, Prince was making out like a fat rat. Matter of fact, if you ever come to Minnesota, you know, Paisley Park is expansive. It's quite big. So think about it. When that was constructed in the '80s when the Ronald Reagan era. So that had to cost buku money to build. I mean, anytime to build any type of big structure is going to cost money. But to me, during that time, it had to be. I can imagine how much it cost to build Paisley Park because it's quite big and it's not no little place. But that just lets you know how much money Prince was, raking in. But if he was doing deals like that, I could see how he was raking in money like that. You said James Brown comes to mind. Also, he was a big band leader, turned his band to something else. Also worked hard back in the days. Yeah. Just I don't know. Like I said, the last movie I seen when I was looking through my DVDs, I seen Under the Cherry Moon. But I want to see Purple Rain with this information that I know now, because I know I'll be able to decipher it and see some things in it that I once didn't see. It's like once you gain intelligence and see certain things and become aware of different things, you see things through a different set of eyes. It's like you can no longer manipulate me. I know the magician's trick now. So when you see the trick perform, you're like, I know what they do. But to the untried eye, they're like, ooh, wow, look at that. Nah, I'm good. But we at 24. I see Choice, came in. I see Joe Frank, you came in. Oh, who's the other two? That's what I like to know, because it's only been Joe Frank and Choice really commenting. It's showing is four so far, but nobody else is saying anything. Like I said, I'll stay on longer if I get responses, and I appreciate the thumbs up. I'll make the hotline active if we get some responses. But if not, I can sign out and try to come back on Thursday night or something, because I ain't gonna come on tomorrow or Wednesday. So guess it's up to y'all what you want to do. Forever Young, what's going on? Glad you chimed in. Don't got no females in here tonight. Nobody, no females. I guess no infamous Lisa Smith. No special guests, no nothing like that. It's just me solo dolo. You know. I'll let it ride out to 27 minutes. We go to 27 minutes. I'll probably shut it down because they got the suppression going strong. I watch all the other regulars that usually come in and like, Rick, I got the notification or I didn't get no notification. This is just a regular occurrence. But someone told me that, like, Rick, you need to get active on IG. Then you can send the people on IG a notification if they don't send no notification over here. But, I just don't like messing with no Mark Zuckerberg products. And he own Instagram, you know. I know people talk stuff about YouTube too, I know, but I'd rather not spread myself thin with all certain particular social media platforms. You should need your opinion on something. Would you rather see Rick James a biopic or a Marvin Gaye movie? I'd rather see Rick James. I mean, I'm quite sure Marvin Gaye's will be good too, because you think about it, Marvin Gaye towards the end, he was back living with his parents, and you figure Marvin Gaye was a big figure, so to go backwards when you've been a giant, I know that had to be a tough pill to swallow, you know. So, and if they were gonna play it in the full sense of what happened, now I think it should be like that. If they do it, they shouldn't. Okay, let's edit it. We don't want to see when he gets in an argument with his father and his father shoots him. I want to see all that because you can research that too. Marvin Gaye's dad was really outright homosexual. It's old footage where they're talking, and he can't hide what he is when you see that interview with him. You just type in Marvin Gaye and his father, you'll see. It's like they're talking on a porch or something. But yeah, Rick James, I think his would be good because his life went in so many different kind of directions. Like at the beginning, talks about how his mother ran numbers for the mob, and then how he got older and he got drafted. And he was essentially like a draft dodger. He went to start a like a rock and roll group with what's the guy's name? Neil Young, that does rock music. He's a lot of people didn't know that. Like Neil Young, like yeah, he had a group with him, and then he did his time for draft dodging and yeah. I think Rick James' story would be a good one. But they just have to pick the right person to play him. I don't know, if they could use the same person and make them look older or how that would work out. But they would have to have a person that kind of looks somewhat. Well, I guess you don't really have to have someone that looks similar, but someone that could get Rick James mannerisms down. Or you say you highly respect that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still listen to Rick James to this day. I listen to Rick James more than any Marvin Gaye or any new R&B. And I know a lot of people saying Rick James really wasn't R&B's punk funk. But to me, Rick James was the rapper before rap really came out, in my opinion, from back in the days. I mean, yeah, we had Curtis Blow back in '79 and the Sugar Hill Gang and everything. But to me, Rick James was like the rock star that was for the youth back then, and the music was always good. So, and essentially, that's where Prince kind of got his some love shown from Rick James until they had a falling out, and a lot of people try to oh, Rick James was jealous of Prince, and I'll say it like this: probably because Prince was on an upswing. He probably looked at him like, yeah, he's on an upswing, and I'm kind of older already. So you may look at it from that point. But what the riff really started from, I mean, they had because Rick James had a behind the music VH1 behind the music, but I don't even know you can find that. But what had happened is his when Rick brought Prince on tour with them, you know, I want to say Rick's mom was, on a tour, and she liked it, Prince. She, liked it his music, and she's like, yeah, you're really good, and she said, can I, get your autograph? She wanted to get his autograph, and he told her no. Now, her son put you on his tour. He didn't have to do that, but you tell his mother no to just, a John Hancock. That's where the riff came from, but they don't talk about that. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's petty. Rick was petty, but I'm showing you love coming on my tour. Rick James was big back in 80, 81. So, Prince was just getting on it. It wasn't the Prince of that we come to know. It was the Prince like he's the opening act type of a deal. So to say like, I ain't signing no autograph, that's some rude ass shit. I don't know how, like, if y'all was in that position, would you overlook that? Or would you just be like, oh, well, maybe you just didn't want to do it? But this is Rick James' actual mother that kind of backs, his plays on what he was doing within life. And to do that to me is a slap in the face. That's some rude ass shit. We done made it past 27 minutes. We at 32. Yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming in, even though they didn't send out the notifications to nobody else. Hopefully y'all have a good Christmas Eve coming and a jolly Merry Christmas, or if you do celebrate it, you celebrate, and hopefully being off from the gig or whatnot. I'm up out of here. Catch you again later.